The second arrow of gates is terror. The Bible said God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of boldness, of love, and of a sound mind. The word sound mind is the word sophronismus. It means the ability to think like God. It's a creative mentality. It's a mentality that self-resuscitates. Now, when a gate wants to perpetually lock you down, it sends the arrow of terror. And then nothing is chasing you, but you are running. And then you discover that a point comes, you become too scared to do anything. Listen, there is honor in failing. It is better to try and fail than sit down and do nothing. Many people think that failure is a curse, so they do nothing. It's a lie. Most of the men that changed their world failed many times, but they didn't allow the horror of fear enslave them. Most of us, the reason we are so afraid that we can do nothing is because arrows of terror have been shot at us. When I started traveling ministry, they told me there are some territories that are hard. Even when I wanted to leave Nigeria, they say, about international ministry, no be joke, no be joke. I said, wait till make a difference. What you call international is another person's home. This is my own home. If the guy is coming to my home, he makes it international. Meanwhile, I'm not going to that country to talk to demons. I'm going to talk to men. And my father and the Lord said, let's go to Ghana. When I stood and I roared, the horse scattered. I'm preaching in Nigeria. People are being healed in Peru. And you are telling me if I go to Peru, it's hard, it's hard. And then that terror will keep some people here. They say, oh boy, wait too. Oh boy, wait too. I beg, no be smart enough. If the devil binds you with fear, you are finished. Do you know why many are not married? They have threatened them with marrying wrongly. And I'm not saying you shouldn't take caution when you marry. But don't become too afraid that you are afraid of marrying. Many people can't marry because fear, not caution. They have become too afraid of marriage and they wasted all their chances. The brother is coming every day. Suitors are coming. They say, this guy, the way I'm seeing it, are you sure he won't have temper? Are you sure he won't do? Are you sure? And they drift into uncertainty. There is nothing on earth, no institution on earth is without problems. If you allow fear enslave you, you will never move forward in life. When a gate, you know, when we talk about gates, people think people are tied down. No. There are strategies that gates deploy. You may not be bound by ropes, but you can be bound by fear. And when they put you in that tight corner of fear, those spirits can go and rest. See the way we are in this country today. Everybody is living in fear. Hope you know that the sons of the bondwoman, their weapon of advancement is terrorism. That's why terrorism has become so popular, because it's one of the weapons that gates use. They tell you they have slaughtered everybody, and they say if you cough, you will die. If you don't die for a purpose, then what are you living for? The first time I wanted to go to the north, they told us, oh boy, northern Nigeria. I told myself, it will not happen. Nothing can happen. And when we invaded the territory of the north, the moment we entered the north, we began to perceive fear and death. And I told myself, if this is where death dwells, then we will come here frequently. Because the proof that we have life is that we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, and we fear no evil. It was true that I was preaching in the morning. I said the best thing a spirit can give to you is not a blessing, it's his presence. When a spirit tells you, I will be with you, it's the greatest blessing you will have. Myself and Ogbe were traveling to Taraba State. And we were already late. I was to minister that day. And when we reached the border of Taraba, now that's Zakibian and Taraba, the driver now dropped us and told us, Benue people don't cross over there. It's only the Hausas that cross. And those who cross, it is the drivers from Okari that will pick them. So the drivers from Okari will come there, pick the people, go back. And then this one will drop here. In case you are a Hausa man or you want to cross, they will carry you. I looked at myself and said, I told myself, I said, this JCCF meeting, can it be postponed? I turned and looked at Ogbe, hoping that he will bring wisdom in the direction of caution. Don't travel with if you are a lion, don't travel with somebody who is as bold as you. Because sometimes you people will just run into danger. And you know the problem, if the spirit of comedy is there, when you are dying, you hold yourself and say, we died like Galasme, we died. When I looked at my brother, he was ready to go. Me who is leading, we are not the one who will cover. And I say, if we die, this is the place. Paul and Barnabas, this be the men that has started their lives for the gospel. The moment we crossed the border, the first military checkpoint we saw was desolate. The second was desolate. And when we crossed to the third, we saw a dead man on the ground. And the Hausa man that carried us said, they had an attack this morning, they killed somebody. So the moment he reaches 5-6, the others will retaliate. And I checked my time, it was 3:58. When you are afraid, don't hear stories. Don't hear stories. Just pray in tongues. Pray in tongues. I checked, it was 3:58. When he say no, 4 o'clock do, anything can happen. You know, they have chance, they can disappear. You know, you are the only person working with a spirit that you think is psychology. When you come to church, you will do psychology. If you go to real life experience, there's no psychology there. It's power. And we say nothing will happen. We went. That meeting we went for, the move of power was terrible. If you saw what God did. The next day, somebody came to the venue with a pot, killed a chicken, and was putting the blood around the campus because the energy we generated there was affecting the territory. Meanwhile, we would have turned back because of terror. Many people have backed out of destiny because of fear. Don't be afraid of failing, but do your best. If you do your best and you fail, you failed honorably. Fear will take you nowhere. One of the ways gates enslave people is terror. Do you see in Nigeria today? Nobody is talking. Why? Not because they don't know what to say, but terror. And the people who are in positions of authority, that the emancipation of the nation is in their hand, are also quiet. If everybody rises and says we will talk today, the country will repair itself. Because you can't kill everybody at the same time. But fear will silence us until we die one by one. But it's not our portion. This is how gates work. It's a complex matter. I'm giving you this because if you see it at an individual level, you will know what to do. Say those meetings you are afraid of going for. That's where you see the biggest manifestation. You are supposed to go and preach and you are afraid. Hey, what will happen? Oh God, what will happen in this meeting? Hey. And then the moment you climb the altar, you say, Father! And then the power of God begins to move. Then you now wake up and say, I can't prepare. I can't prepare. If you don't conquer fear, you are already a slave. Some people are slaves in palaces. I learned it. I went to NYC orientation camp one time to preach. That was like 5 years ago. If you see the auditorium, it was massive. Meanwhile, it was just one night. I traveled all the way to Kaba. And then the hall, they were just building it. The windows were open. Everywhere was open. When it was 1 hour to the meeting, Lo and behold, it started raining. Hope you know when everywhere is cold, if you don't have power, you are in trouble. Because the people who come for the meeting, they don't even pay attention to you. They are dealing with cold. When you are praying in tongues, it will be pounding. To make things worse, the hall was open everywhere. I said, Holy Ghost! Yes! Fear gripped my heart. And I stood up. I preached for 1 hour, 30 minutes. Nothing happened. Because I was preaching. I was hoping that when I begin to ascend, some movements will begin. No movement. In fact, if I hold the microphone like this, air will be passing through it. And you'll be hearing. So I had to hold my mic like this. I finished preaching. I encouraged myself in the Lord. And God was merciful. He gave me a word of knowledge. Of a boy. I can remember it because that was a ground of terror. He said his father was a pastor. But his father was killed. His mother was killed. And him now, God is telling him to go to ministry, but he's afraid. The boy, he said he was tall, hairy, and he had issues with his eyes. I say, thank God, at least I have a graphic word of knowledge. When I called the word, nobody came out. You don't know what we go through here. You came for meeting with only expectation. You think, hey, things will happen here. The man here is suffering. You don't know what is happening. If you don't confront your fear, you can't minister here. You say somebody has migraine. That time the person is dozing off in a meeting. You say by the left hand side, somebody has ear condition. The person is now ashamed. How can I come out so that people will know that I'm sick? He doesn't know that one, God wants to save him, and two, your integrity is at stake. And then after the meeting, then they will throw a meeting. They say, hey, man of God, I was the person that you were. Those earlier days, sometimes I feel like slapping them. Sometimes out of anger, I will tell them the anointing to heal you was in the meeting. I don't have it anymore. Go. Everybody that came for the meeting with expectation, we now go and say, "Car, we don't even know say this guy is a fake man," because somebody was intimidated, and they now come to you at the end of the meeting, "Sir, I'm so sorry. I was the one you were talking." What's that? Go and meet the organizer of the meeting. God had to begin to teach me compassion. How do you explain to everybody that you were there? How do you now go for your next meeting and prophesy? Because what that guy did is an attack on your ministry. If you don't conquer fear, you can never move in the supernatural. So when gates begin to bring terror, they are cutting you off from your supernatural supply. The angels that walk with you, the systems of heaven that come to intervene, they are activated on the premise of faith. But when you become afraid, you cut off that supply. Where do you think we look up to that we are not ashamed? Is the mountains of God. But when you are afraid, you look down. The reason many people have no intervention in their life is because the arrow of terror have emasculated them and they are in captivity. And I'm not just talking ministry, even in business. You try 2 businesses, it's crumbled. The next money that comes, instead of investing, they will shoot fear and say, save it in the bank. How much do you get saving your money in the bank? 3%. There's no wisdom in it. That's why wise men say, only those who take risk are qualified to succeed. And he said, men who win, they continue from where quitters quit. Because they have resolved that they will not let fear intimidate them. What did the apostles do? When Jesus left them, a young church, the Sanhedrin called them. You know, this time they didn't have influence. How do you flog married men? To show you the way they treated them like babes and children who had no value in society. Imagine people are preaching boldly. Say, come here, come here. Lie down here. And they flog. When they flog them, they now say, don't ever preach in the name of that man. They didn't even say that man. The people came back, they were afraid. And say, the first thing they said they did, they returned to their company. Because not all of them were flogged. There was somebody else that was not flogged, so his confidence was not depleted. And when I start teaching you how to deal with game, I will tell you the intelligence of networking. And as they spoke to their friends, all of a sudden, these people who were afraid, one now say, oh God, why was I not there to be beaten with them? The guy that was now beaten said, oh, but wait, is it an honor to be beaten? The other one said, Jesus, why didn't you count me worthy of suffering reproach? After a while, as they mingled with them, energy was transferred. That's why I said, behold, how beautiful and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in harmony. It's like the oil upon the head of Aaron, to his beard, down to his skirt. There, the Lord commanded. Can I tell you the intelligence of networking? When we begin to ascend in the spirit, something happens. You'll be amazed, because it's beyond this fellowship. We are praying now, we are talking, we are together. When we ascend in the spirit, you'll be shocked that there's a realm we will enter and we will collide with the mantle of Paul. And all of a sudden, everybody will start having different revelation. There's a place we will enter in the spirit. You will collide with the very patriarch, Archbishop Benson Itahosa, because they didn't die. The Bible said they are spirit of just men made perfect. We are in Zion. Those in heaven are also in Zion, but there are different locations in Zion. The intelligence of networking is that when you begin to ascend, a point comes, you meet a man that did the job you are doing now. So you begin to draw from his energy. You draw from his wisdom. That's why the Bible said, as he prayed, the fashion of his countenance was altered. His raiment glistered, and there appeared unto him Moses and Elias, and they told him what he will do in Jerusalem. We are not alone. But what is the quality of your network? The guys return to their own company. Some of our companies are not on earth. They are in Zion. They are in Zion. So when you are intimidated, enter your room and begin to pray. And after a while, as you open your eye, then you will look at Enoch. And then Enoch will tell you what he did in his day. And you will return to your day with a wisdom of 2,000 years old. They will say you are 30, you are not 30 years old. You are more than 2,000 because you are functioning with the wisdom of the ancient. That's what men do. That's what men do. They are scrolls in the spirit. They are scrolls. There are dimensions in heaven. There are entities in Zion. But how high can you travel? We are not disadvantaged. There's too much in our favor. He was quoting Revelation 19 this morning. John was cast to the isle called Patmos to die. But in Patmos, he said, I was in the spirit on the Lord's day. I heard a sound as of a trumpet. And as I turned, he said, a door appeared in heaven. And they said, come up, Peter. Come up, Peter. Come up. And when he entered heaven, he saw a man that was like an angel. He wanted to worship it. He said, worship me not. I am one of your brethren. When that man comes down, he can't be afraid. The man that was afraid suddenly came down. And he said, he met him that was called the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last, the one who was, who is, and who is to come. And he said, these letters I write to the 7 churches. How can a man in the valley of death be writing letters to the churches? Because he has met people. He has met entities. He has met thrones and dimensions. It was there that one of the elders came to him and said, weep not, weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah. You are not alone. Refuse to be terrorized. When fear comes, ascend the mountains of God. You ancient Zion's king, Kadosh. Sit down, brothers and sisters. I don't want to accept. Listen. I was teaching, hear me. I was teaching in Kaduna last weekend. I came to the hall tired. The moment I carried the mic, my voice went. And while I was talking, all of a sudden, John the Baptist entered the building. And I told the people, John has entered this place. Instantly, even me, my energy changed. And all of us began to cry. Kaduna was held spellbound. That's networking. How can you be terrorized? How? Do you know what the apostles went through? The Bible said Peter was put in the midst of 16 soldiers in chains. If you keep quiet, you are dead. Paul and Silas, they were beaten and kept in chains. He said, but when midnight came, he said, Paul and Silas, they prayed and they sang, and the prisoners heard them, and suddenly networking began. He said, an angel came down from heaven, and when the angel landed on the building, he said the foundation of the building shook, and every door opened their own accord. The man that arrested him brought his whole family midnight and said, please save us. If you can network, your captor can become your captive.